G'day folks. Well, I figured it'd be time for a part 2 on the Jag engine. As you can see, got the cylinder head and everything off. I did a couple of parts last night, but I forgot to upload them before I formatted the card, so I'm just going to go over basically what I showed in the original parts anyway. There's no real difference. As you can see, there's looks like a line there. It's a blow mark through the head gasket. These two are blown. They're a lot darker than the other three, so it's 1, 2 and 3 which were blown. 4, 5 and 6 were okay, but all of them have bad rings. There's a lot of oil getting to number 3 and number 1, and there were blow marks in the head gasket. It's a monotorque head gasket. It's been done at one point since manufacture, but I think that's the only reason I got this head off was because it's been off once before. So yeah, nice big combustion chambers, but yeah, some very surface scratches and things, but this will get machined and redone anyway if it passes. A lot of that's all blocked up anyway, so it's got to be fully remanufactured. It's not going to be a quick clean up and reuse. Any alloy head, you got to deck it and, or not deck it, but clean the deck up and then machine the face of the head and true it all up. Otherwise it will leak again. Can't just put an alloy head back on. It'll leak. You might get lucky occasionally, but for the most part, especially big long heads like that, they just bow like bananas. As soon as you take it off, it's just bowed. You won't get it to seat properly. So yeah, that's sort of what we're at. I've taken the torque converter and the bell housing off. You can see we've got a spring steel type flex plate in there and a partial mass flywheel. It's a bit heavier than your average, I suppose, your average car's drive plate. Most of them are a very thin drive plate with just a ring gear welded to them, but because it's such a big 6-cylinder, they've added a bit of extra mass in that. And you can run them without the torque converter, but your base idle will be higher. You won't have the mass to keep it ticking over at low RPMs. That's why I left the torque converter on this one. I wouldn't have been able to get it to idle so low. So yeah, I'm just going to strip off any brackets and things. I'll take the oil supply for the cylinder head off, or supply rail tubing. Take other brackets and things off it, and we'll look at removing the flywheel and the sump or sump brackets and other bits and pieces, and the front cover, and go from there. The bores are pretty well worn. I'll get a close-up of that once the block's all stripped down. Especially number 2 and number 3, they're pretty nasty. Likewise, I'll take the oil filter housing and everything off. Just get it bare bones, get it down to a bare block, and then we'll look at whether or not it's worth salvaging and remaking, or just binning it. I don't know. Brad gave it to me as just a gift, so whatever happens to it, happens to it. I would like to see it reworked and reused again, but if it's a bit past it, well, I'll get his opinion on whether or not it's worth it. I mean, it just means I've got to find a place to store it and then eventually get it back up to his place, so one of his Jag friends, remanufacturers, engine builders can take it from there. Same with the cylinder head, that's not going to scrap. That's going to get fully checked, tested, machined, whatever. Okay, well, those bolts weren't particularly easy to get out, but they came out. Of course they will. Yeah, I'm just degreasing and cleaning the drive plate just to see if it's cracked or not. Regardless of whether or not it is, it can be sent away and they'll remove these rivets and rivet a brand new one in there anyway. But since this one doesn't look like it's cracked, I'd say this is like a $100, $200 item on its own. At least maybe $100 for a decent second-hand one. The ring gear's in good condition too, so yeah, $100 item on its own. Definitely needs a really good clean, like soak it in degreaser for half an hour and then hose it down. Yeah, someone asked if this is just kerosene in a can, but it does have a water-soluble element to it. It's designed to be specifically washed down with water afterwards, so it becomes water-soluble as soon as you hit it with the hose. But until then, it's hydrocarbon based. So yeah, this drive plate looks completely serviceable. There's a bit of rust and stuff, but that's about it. A bit of moisture's been leaking through. But it's not cracked, so that's good. This goes for a Borg Warner built 3-speed for the for Jaguar. Borg Warner built the boxes for Jag. I should have autopsied the old box. It was pretty, well, I think it was that nasty inside. The oil was that carbony black that I just didn't want to open it. It was just going to be one of those evil, nasty messes. Not to mention the smell coming out of it. But yeah, this thing will clean up just nice. Alright, well it's just time to get down to basics and put this son of a bitch on the floor. The old stand, well that can go outside. I don't think I did too much welding on it that I can't just cut these off and reuse it for something else. That actually looks like tool steel. It is. Yeah, it's not excessively welded, I just made it out of bits of scrap that I had floating around. Yeah, once I cut these welds and knock it all apart, I can salvage most of this. That bit of box tubing, which is like trailer hitch tubing, 6mm wall thickness. These mounts, that one's not too bad. That one is fairly compressed. I don't know. Brad can have them back anyway, I don't need them for anything. Although, then again, they're just a straight rubber shock absorber mount, so I might as well keep them. Yeah, this base came off, I think it was a Konica, very large Konica photocopier. Yeah, it was a very large Konica photocopier. Did pretty well, holding the whole Jag engine and transmission when it was on there. Big old cast iron 3-speed Borg Warner box. It was one heavy ass photocopier though, the thing weighed 1/4 of a ton. And as you can see, it's got very solid plastic or nylon wheels. I had no problem moving that thing around. So I'll strip the rest of that down, get that outside and probably degrease and clean it. And then we'll work on getting the sump off and the rest of the other crap.